I have reached out to a couple of leaders within the past, really, I would say 2 weeks. Check in, see how they're doing. Some of them had attended a workshop at the Financial Brand Forum earlier this year, and it was just a very simple question: How are you making progress? Since what was it May, I believe,
Mhm.
and there appears to be a theme of we've been so busy, um, we haven't been able to do what we wanted to do. We are stuck in the day to day. And here's the thing: the story's not changing. It's the same story. It's a new year. It's a new month. It's a new quarter, but the story continues to be the same. And that's where I see this leadership gap. Really, and perhaps it has been this way. But if I look back over the last 22 years working and guiding financial brands, the feeling of quote unquote falling behind has increased significantly since March of 2020.
Mhm.
And we know the COVID experience. We know how much people grew, in fact, through the COVID experience to do things that they never thought were possible.
Right.
But there was a forcing function that forced people to change. And it's my take that if people are not forced to change, they're probably gonna stay the same, stuck in the status quo, doing what they've always done, focused on the here and now, rather than thinking about the future. But the challenge is that the future, to quote Peter Diamandis in his book, the future is faster than you think. You know?
Yeah. I see like two different things here that come to mind. It's okay, is this just the way it is in the industry and we just never really noticed it as, or you never really noticed it as much before? And how much of this lack of leadership and future focus thinking is within, say, the leader's control? If you're VP of marketing, sales, how much of that is in your control or you're just reacting? So that's kind of one point.
Well, take that up
The
to
other point is,
take that up to the board level, though.
right.
Like I think of someone who has been a guest on this podcast, and we had a private conversation. And one of the things that they shared with me was, well, listen, I can only control what I can control. I appreciated that perspective because
Right.
they were influencing. And I think that's the key element of leadership is to influence the direction of yourself first and foremost, to influence the direction of the team that you're leading, and then
Yeah.
if you have the ability to influence the direction of the organization. But the danger is getting trapped in the cave of complacency and making decisions in the present based
Yeah.
upon past experiences.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it really does. I mean, it is a top down thing. And I we'll get into that in a little bit, but I think you mentioned since 2020, since COVID,
Mm.
and a lot of the rapid changes. And I feel, and I know I can get this way sometimes just naturally. There's so much change going on. And there's like this overwhelming amount of like rushing and anxiety. And oh my gosh, we got to do this. Hurry. We got to do that. It's this scarcity mindset. It's a race. Oh my gosh. And so maybe there's a lot of that going on and not really thought out strategies, just doing things because you're looking around and everybody else is. And so I think that could be part of it. There's lacking that real intention and vision on why are we doing this? What is the purpose? Instead, it's just like everyone's just trying to play catch up with each other.
You use the word vision, and that is something that we cannot gloss over because vision is the key to leadership. Um, Vision is what provides a path towards the future. Vision, it comes from being able to see things from a different perspective. It's sight. Clarity comes into play here. And what I'm finding, you mentioned the point of we just don't have time to think. Let's roll this back even further. there are leaders, and we uncovered this when writing Banking on Change. There are leaders who feel, perceive, and it's perception. They feel that they don't have time to even learn. 70 to 80% of financial brand leaders are investing 1 to 2 hours a week or less. And it's really the or less, it's around 50% are not investing really any time at all into their ongoing learning, growth, development. No wonder the industry stays the same. No wonder nothing changes, because if nothing changes, nothing changes. All change that leads to future growth, it starts within, it starts with the individual. And if the individual is not changing, nothing's going to change. And here we are, we're going to be here 10 years later, and we're going to be in the exact same place, having the same exact conversations, talking about the same exact things. And I've seen this. I've seen
Yep.
take 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 credit unions, for example, right? Like, and I've got 2+ decades of perspective on this. Why the hell are we talking about credit unions, talking about the credit union difference, and talking about, well, what's the difference between credit unions and banks? We've been talking about the same shit for 2 years, or not 2 years,
Yeah.
20 years.
I was
Like,
going to say, I personally had those conversations 14 years ago.